Hi everyone, and welcome to this Pano2VR 101 Maps and Floor Plans webinar. I'm Martin from Support, and I will be joined today by...
Karen. Hi, I'm here in the background. I will be helping out with the questions, and if you have a question, we ask you to please use the Q&A tab. It's easier for us to manage your questions there. And also, if you can, please keep your questions on topic. We'll try to answer every single question, but we have limited time, and so we want to make sure everything is on topic. I think that's it for me. So enjoy, and I'll be back later.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Right, okay, so let's start then. First and foremost, I will say if you start to hear some thudding noises, the Army have decided to do some flyovers over the office, which started about an hour ago. Hopefully it will settle down within the next hour or so, so I'm hoping you won't hear it. But if you do and wonder what the noise is, that's what it is. Right, okay, so let's get started then. This is 101 for maps and floor plans. We do have other webinars that do cover this and go into more detail, so this is the very basics to get you going. Right, so I'm going to open up a project file or folder. It has 3 nodes, so what I'm going to do is open up Pano2VR, and we are just going to drag these in. All right, so that's it there. Right, let's just put that back. Okay, so that's my 3 nodes in. And as I always like to do is using the keyboard shortcut, I'm just going to save. You can see it says Command S. That's because I'm on the Mac. It would be Control S if you're on the PC. So yeah, so anytime you see a command, it's a control if you're on the PC. Okay, cool. So this is my project. And if we open up the tour maps, because basically if you're going to be using maps in your projects, how this works is you first use the tour map to add your map pins and everything else, and then once that's done and you're happy with that, then we can bring that map into the skin and then finally into the output. Now there is another way of bringing in floor plans directly into the skin. I won't be covering that today, there's no point. We do actually have a webinar on that. And again, once we've finished here, you can springboard yourself onto those webinars. So what I'm going to do then is click on this button to open up the tour map. You'll see that it opens for me in a separate little window. You can dock this wherever you want. So I can dock it over here, stretch the window, give me more space, undock it if you've got another monitor, put it onto another monitor, etc, etc. So I'm going to leave it in this. Actually, no, I'm going to dock it to one side for the moment. So this location that I'm at is Layamani. So I'm just going to type that into the address. Okay, actually it's Layamani Tower. Right, so I'm just going to hit the return key and it basically brings me here. Now I've got the world map showing. This is our default. We've got the some other maps here, so I'm going to go to, say, satellite view, and we can zoom in to see where I am. Right, okay, now this is an area I know quite well, so I know that I'm basically at the car park that starts, which is about here, so I just need to drag and drop my node in. There we go, so that's that one. The next location is in the courtyard, which is around about here, so I just drag and drop and put my node there, roughly position it. And then the last one is looking at the gatehouse. It's the oldest Tudor gatehouse in the United Kingdom, and I'm just going to drag and drop and put that in there. Okay, cool. Now of course what I can do is I can zoom in the map to make my placement a bit more accurate. Also to note as well is that I can drag and drop the active node. So node C is my active node. Now node C is matching up with what's on the map and what's in the tour browser. You probably won't have this. Why won't you have this? Because this is a setting within Pano2VR. So first tip of the day, go to Pano2VR. On the Mac, it's Pano2VR properties. It's file settings on the PC. Go to advanced, and you want to show map labels in tour browser and map. That is deselected as a default because it can upset people, but I like to have it switched on because you can clearly see what nodes are A, B, C with the map as well, because if you've got quite a few nodes and you've got quite a few nodes on the map and they're fairly close together, you could get mixed up, but now it's a lot easier to see. Right, okay, so this is now adding my nodes into the tour map, and what I want to do now is make sure that I'm pointing in the right direction. Okay, so I'm going to spin this round and look up the road here. Okay, and you can see that the radar beam is not pointing that way. So there's a couple of ways to do this, but the easiest way is if you click into the viewer, hold down the N key for north on the keyboard, and as you now drag, you don't drag the panorama, but you're dragging the compass heading. There we go. So that's my compass set there. I can do the same thing for all of these. So let's set this up. I've got my grid turned on. You can see the button here to turn the grid on and off. I use this to, I've got this line going across, so I try and push that against the top of the building, and I can hold down the N key, and then I can rotate to make sure that I'm going in the right direction. Okay. What's actually happening here is you can see I've got this ghost hotspot that's appeared. Okay, if you don't like to see that, you can turn it off here and turn it back on again. But basically what's happening is none of my input images had any location data or GPS, but because I'm using the map and I'm online, my computer's actually on the internet, or else I wouldn't be talking to you right now, then what's happening, as soon as I drag and drop, I'm automatically adding location data, and you can see the satellites appearing in all of these nodes. Okay, so we're now adding GPS, which is brilliant, because I know other software it's a little bit more cumbersome, you have to find that out and type it in, but with Pano2VR it is literally drag and drop, done. Okay, so let's go to the last one, and I'm going to select the last panorama. As you can see, I've got the two hotspots here, which are nowhere near where I'm looking, right? So that's because of the heading is incorrect. So this is why we need to correct the heading. So I'm now looking at the building. So I'm now looking at the gatehouse. So again, hold down the N key, rotate until I get to, I'm facing it. Okay, and that's that. Now you'll see that the hotspots are in the right place. Okay, all right. I'm going to zoom out a little bit because this is the other clever bit. Once we've got our hotspots in the right place, we really don't have to link the panorama manually. I could if I wanted to, but I really don't have to, because once we've used the tour map to drop where we are or to actually set our location, and we've set our heading, all I need to do is use this link button and automatic link in closest node. Click, and you can see that all the hotspots are now set. All right, I can test them by holding down the Alt key or the option on the Mac. When I click the hotspots, it will show me where they are. Now, I've actually got okay. First silly mistake is that I actually was pointing the wrong direction when I was setting my north, but that's not to worry. So what I'm going to do is, because this actually opens up one little problem that you can bump into. If you look, we've got nice straight lines. Now, what happens if I hold down the N key and then correct my heading, and let's see where we're going with that. So that's going to be straight. All right, so there we go. So I've corrected my heading. We've got the hotspots in the right place. Right, had I already set these up, I haven't actually published or anything with the or created the output, but what you can sometimes see, let me just zoom in, is that some of these lines get curved and bent round, and that's because really the last job you want to do is to set your links or your hotspots by the auto linking. If you set the auto link first and then you correct your north and start rotating the panoramas, you will start to see these lines start to bend. But as I haven't got much further into the project, you won't be seeing that, which is a shame, because it's something that some people have reported that they've got wonky lines. What's gone on, and that's because they've set the linking, then set it or then set the headings. If you're going to set the headings afterwards, you can unlink the panoramas. Now the easiest way to unlink all your panoramas is to go to Tour, Automatic Linking, remove all links. Now we used obviously the Tour map to do the automatic linking, but you can also do it here as well. So we've got sequential, closest node, and complete. Wouldn't touch that one because that links every single hotspot. So if you've got, you know, a couple of hundred nodes, then all of a sudden you're going to have a couple of hundred hotspots active, and it's, yeah, good luck with that. Right. So anyway, so that's the automatic linking. We've got our map, our Tour map already done. I'm now going to deselect the map, which takes me back to the output. I haven't actually set one yet. And there I can go HTML5 and just, I'm going to build the output because I haven't done that yet. And what that'll do is help speed up things as we start adjusting things in this skin, because with Pano2VR, if the output images are newer than the input images, we do not recreate. Okay, so if I was to patch one of these, then obviously the input image would be newer than the output image. So when I click the create button, it would then, for that single node, remap and recreate that. Anyway, moving on. So here is the project. I am going to open up the output, and you can see I've got my hotspots and they are all linked as should be. All right, cool. But this is on about maps. So let's open up the skin. Oh, actually I've got a blank skin, I think. Do I have a blank skin? No, I don't. Right, so let's open up the skin editor. I'm going to select this tool, which is Draw Map. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Let's move that over to the left. Here we go. Okay, so this is my map, and it's already set for the Google roadmap. I'm not going to touch any of the settings. I'm going to close. It's going to ask me to save it, so I'm going to save it to my desktop, and it's the Maps 2 folder. I'll artistically call my skin, and save. And as we publish this, you'll see my Google map, and then boom, we've got this error. Okay, why are we getting this error? Well, Google Maps is a paid service. You need to go to let's go to our website, and I will show you this. So let's go to new window, Gnome software, search, and you want API key, and you'll see preference settings, Google Maps. And here it talks about how to set up your Google map. All right. Basically, what you need is an account with Google and a valid payment option. Google do give you $200 credits a month, and using the map doesn't take a lot, but we have had some customers saying that, you know, because their tours are on websites that are getting, you know, quite a few thousand views, all of a sudden they start to get bills from Google, which is not funny. So what I will show you is Pano2VR has more than one map provider. Google is our default, but you can change this. So what we'll do is go back to the tour map, and I'm going to click the plus button, and I'm going to add a map. And as soon as I do that, our dynamic properties panel, now the properties panel, as you may know through other webinars, is if you click on something, they'll hang on, lost my train of thought. Right, if you click on the properties panel, it will change for whatever you're looking at. So if I'm looking at the panorama, it changes for that. If I click into the tour map, it changes for that. Okay, so what I can do here, I've got map 01. I'm actually going to rename this so I can find it easier. I'm going to call it OpenStreetMap, or OSM. And we can change, so this is what the OpenStreetMap looks like. It's not very good, but or great, but you know, it's free. All right, and we can change it to a terrain, or I'll change it back again. All right, so that's now the new map that I'm choosing. Okay, so let's close this, go back to the skin editor, go back to the map element, and now what I can do is select that map that we've just created, OSM. Now it's still going to be using the Google API, which is the bit that is what you're going to be charged for using. All right, but because we're now moving to a different map provider, we now have the option to move to use this leaflet API, which is free to use. Okay, so if I now close, save, and export. We've now got our map. I can whiz it around as I change location, so the location changes on the map, and I can also use the map to click and change as well, and we've got all the features. All right, so that's basically adding a map to your project. I want to just quickly go through the features of this map, because this webinar is basically split into two. We're looking at the maps, and then I want to go into the floor plan section. So whilst I'm still on the maps, we'll select the map and just have a look at some of the other features that we have. Now we have the center node. So node change center node. So if I close, save, and publish, what happens here is if I change a node, so the map will change to show the node always in view. Okay, so that's quite good. So if you've got a massive complex with loads of hotspots, you can change that. All right, and let's see what else we've got to play with. We have cloner's marker. Okay, what we've got is, if we have a look here, we've got the basic set of pins that come with the map, but we can change these within Pano2VR. Now, I know this is a 101 to get you started, but what we're going to do then is just go to the components toolbox, and we have this component that says map element. Okay, so that's what we're dealing with, map pin. So it's a custom map pin for that map element. So, oh, hang on, I didn't add that. So let's do that. So double click to add that to the skin. There it is. What I need to do now is select the map element and say cloner's marker, and it is called a map pin. So I select that from the elements in the list. Okay. And when we publish this out, what we'll have is our map pins. Okay, we don't have any names because this component will pick up the name from the user data. So let's just call this, I don't know, so this is node 2. Let's use the keyboard shortcut for whizzing around. Node 1, and then node 3. So that's just quickly putting something in there. When I create the output now, you'll see node 2, node 1, node 2, and then I got node 3 here. Okay, the other thing that I want to show is possibly see that it's not very good actually. It's probably better if I do it on the floor plan, but basically what's happening is that the tooltip is covering the node below it, and the reason for this is basically node 1, then node 2 will cover that node 1, and then node 3 will cover 2 and 1. That's the order of things. But if I go back to the skin, what we can do is change this order. So at the moment we've got pin order of tour browser. So the first map pin that we added obviously was the top one, which is the driveway. Then the next one down, which will cover obviously that one, is the next tour pin. So what we can do is we can change the pin order from bottom to top. So we say the first one was added to the bottom, so the next one up is now the new one, so that will now cover the one underneath it, and so on. So we can change that pin order to correct that. Okay, I'm just going to save this then, and this is, really a very, very basic map done. Okay, so I'm sort of on the verge to flip projects over to floor plans, but before I do, I'm just going to do a shout out to Karen. Do we have any questions so far?
Hi. I don't. I think this is a question from Simon in the chat. He says, "Hi, I saw that when I use the mouse wheel to zoom in and out the panorama, it works in the opposite direction in the maps window."
So that zooms out, that zooms in. It does indeed. You're quite right.
It does, yeah. And so he's wondering if it's possible to have that working in the same direction. I know this is a little off topic to what we are doing, but right now,
as far as I'm aware, there is actually, because I remember this question coming up, and I've actually submitted a report for this. We have actually submitted a report for this. So it's in the bug tracker, but basically, if you want consistency, you can go to control and you can invert the mouse. So the mouse, obviously we've got no control over the map for the minute, but what we can do is control them how the mouse reacts in the panorama. So what you would do here is select invert, so the mouse will then be the same as the map, but there is a request that we're looking into where we can change the mouse wheel zoom in the map, because obviously you might want how the panorama zooms in and out and not how the map zooms in and out, but at the moment we don't have that option. This is a workaround, but the option is being considered, let's put it that way. Next, any more?
Yeah, so let's see. So Franco is asking, is there some way to cache the map for when you're not online?
If you're not that I know of, no. What you can do is, hang on, Thomas is sending me a message through our internal teletype, but I was going to say what this works for OSM.
Yeah.
All right, okay, this works for OSM.
For
so yes,
OpenStreetMap.
OpenStreetMap.
Yeah. How?
Okay. How? Yeah, that's the next question. How? Look around and the tiles are cached. Oh, I see. So you have to be online first, then you look around, tiles are cached, you go offline. But obviously, if you open up the project without doing that first, they probably won't be. The other way of doing this, apparently we may improve this. Okay, so yeah, that's coming straight from Thomas. So good. Right, so this may be improved, but basically what I would do in right here and now is, use OpenStreetMap because there's no copyright to it. Do a screen print of the area that you're at and add that as a simple floor plan, and it will be an image inside the project, so it'll be accessible regardless. So yeah, okay, so that then, so how are we doing for questions? Is
Yeah, so Dan is asking a question. It's a little bit off topic, but I think we can quickly cover it. He says he's fighting to get direct node access working, and he just noticed that you titled the nodes with a space. And wouldn't that be a problem later with DNA, with direct node access?
Probably, but with direct node access, you can use custom node IDs. Well, no, actually, no, because with direct node access, I'm not using the titles. What I'm doing is I'm using the custom. I'm using. Hang on. Right. Okay. Let's rewind that because I'm drinking juice with lots of sugar, obviously. Right. With direct node access, you would either use the node itself, so it'd be node 1, node 2, node 3, or you can use the custom node ID. But you can actually add a placeholder in the custom node ID to pick up the node title. In that case, it may or may not be the best thing to do. In this project, there is no direct node access. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you've got names in a title, do you really want to put underscores in there or anything like that? No, you would actually just type in a proper custom node. So if for argument's sake my title was, I don't know, the kitchen, I would probably have a custom node ID of just kitchen, and I would just use that. So yeah. Yeah, so as Thomas was saying, you can use he's just messaged me, you can use the underscore, but as I was saying, for a title, would I really want to see an underscore in that? No, not really. I would want to see the title with the kitchen with a space. I wouldn't want to see it with an underscore, so therefore, on the custom node ID, I would just use kitchen, and that would be that. Right, okay, so I think that's answered, I hope.
Yeah. I was just thinking, do you have the context menu turned on in the Tor browser that shows you the internal node ID?
Indeed. Yeah. No.
No.
No. It says node 3 is the name, but okay. So tip number 2 for today then. So Pano2VR preferences on the Mac, file settings for the PC. Go to Advanced and Show Internal Node ID under the heading to a browser. Click OK. Right. If I now hover over that, we should get, it says Node ID Node 3. You can see that written there. If I move
Which
the mouse,
is what you can also use for DNA. It doesn't have to be custom and it doesn't have to be coming from the title.
That's it. I mean, basically, direct node access, when it was originally done, was using this node 1, node 2, node 3. We brought in custom node IDs because people wanted a more, shall we say, a better appearance, because you want to give someone, say, right, hash kitchen or hash bedroom or something like that. So yeah, that's when that was brought in. But basically, yeah, custom node, or rather node ID, is what you would have used. But yeah, but the other thing with this as well is that you can swap these around. You see, you can swap the nodes around. So node 3 now becomes my start node, but that's still node 3. So do you want the start node to be node 3? Probably not. But anyway, node 2, 3. So I'm back to where I was. Anyway.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it for now.
That's it for now. Okay, so is that all the questions as well?
Yeah, that's all the questions.
Oh, sorry. Right, okay. I just thought you meant me. Shut up. That's it for now, Martin. Shut up. Right, okay. All right, moving on then. Okay, so we've created our map, and yeah, this is a very, very, as I say, simplistic. What I could do here as well is I could have added a button to hide and show the map, but I won't. I'll do that next time round. So let's close this and save. That's that project done. Okay, what I want to do now is look at floor plans. So I've got this project. Double click, open it up. Now this has already some stuff added, because obviously for saving a bit of time, I've got my titles and user data already set in some of the or in all of the nodes actually. So if I go back to the properties, and I've already set, this is a 2-story building. I've already set the floor plan and nodes for the second floor, but I will go through how to do it for the first floor. But more importantly, what I wanted to discuss was how to set a project up even before you start. Now, let's just close this. What I've done is, here's my project, and what I've done is I've grouped my floors. It doesn't have to be floors. If you've got a big area and you're doing, groups of areas, put the nodes into subfolders. I've got a subfolder for all my ground floor panos, and I've got a subfolder for my first floor panos. So what I would do here is I would open up Pano2VR and save it to the main project folder where these folders are. Then open up Pano2VR and then drop the folder. You can actually drop a whole folder onto here and it will load all the panos inside it. Why would I do that? Well, if we go back to user data and have a look, we have tags, and you will see now that all the panoramas in the folder called ground get the ground tag, and all the panoramas in the folder first get the first tag. Now, not so much today, here and now, but you can use these tags to great effect later on in building your skins. You can do things like, have a thumbnail menu, and then you can have an action set value to the thumbnail menu of ground or first, and then that menu will only show the panoramas on the ground floor or the first floor. But what I'm using this for is for our filter, to make it easier for me to build this project, because in the tour browser you have this filter. All right, now that I've got some tags, I can say, right, well, I only want to deal with all the ground floor panoramas, and that's what it shows me. I can delete that and then set all the first floor panoramas, so it makes things tidy. Again, if you've got a project with multiple floors or multiple locations, then you don't have to have hundreds of nodes in the tour browser. You can use this filtering system with the tag. So this is a third tip of the day, if you like. Put your panoramas or your groups of panoramas into folders. When you bring them in, it automatically tags them. So that's my opening spiel for this. Right, so, okay, as before, with maps and floor plans, we add them via the tour map. So this is this button again. I'm going to click this, and here it is. Now, you would start off with the world map. I know you've just seen a floor plan there, but you didn't really see it. It's hidden, okay? But so we're going to start off with the world map. If I'm going to add a floor plan, I would click the plus button. We had a map before. I'm going to add a floor plan. Now, in my resources, I have my ground floor plan. I click open, and there it is. Now let's make sure that I've got the properties panel set. So when I select the floor plan, I've now got the properties for it. Now I'm going to change the name of this. to ground floor. Okay, it's got tags. It can ultimately, I could add tags here. Or I could select a tag that I've already got. I'm just going to leave this blank for the minute. As I say, this is a 101. It's not that important right now. If I move this down, what I do need to tell it is that this is a ping image. If it was a JPEG, leave as is. It's a ping image, and I can change the color of the background as well. But I'm going to leave that as being white. All right. So what I'm going to do to make my life easier is now set the ground floor tag and the filter. So I've now only got the ground floor panoramas. This is the ground floor map, and I just need to add the pins. So I'm just going to drag and drop the pins into the map. All right, so I'm going to roughly do it because we can go back and tidy it up later. So let's just drag and drop all of these in here, storage cupboard, and finally living room. Now, I was actually going on to say this in the last project, but I got sidetracked and didn't finish. But basically, you can drag and drop the active pin, or say drag and drop, drag and move the active pin. All right. If I try and do that with the non-active pin, nothing happens. And if I'm zoomed in, I would just drag the floor plan around. If you want to move a non-active pin, i.e. one of the blue ones, you press and hold the Option or the Alt key, all right? Or Option stroke Alt key, depending on your flavor, PC or Mac. Once it's held down, you can then drag those around for accurately placing them better, okay? So let's just whiz a few of those around. And yeah, okay, that'll do. All right, so that's my map pins added to the map. Again, what I want to do is set my direction. As you can see that I'm looking through the house, but I'm actually the floor, but you see the radar beams pointing the wrong way. So again, I'm going to select the viewer, hold down the N key, whiz round the radar beam. Now we actually call this setting north, but as you can see, I'm not actually setting north. I'm just pointing in the same direction as the property. Yeah, so as the view I'm looking, I'm making sure that that radar beam is pointing in the same direction. That's all I really need to do. So if I go to this node, I can do the same thing, hold down the N key, and I can whiz this round. But what I'll also do, this is another tip coming up. Right, ready? If we go to user data, what I did is I shot these all on a little theta V or whatever it was, but I made sure the camera was always pointing at the same direction. Okay, because the theta V has a compass built in. The theta SC doesn't, so you would need to do these manually, all of these. But because the theta V has a compass built in, all you need to do is set the direction of the first node, and then for north, I can select all of these, all right, and I can hit the copy button, and it will say to me, do I want to copy the north setting to the selected nodes? Now, this is where you got to be careful. I've got more than just the ground floor nodes in this project. I've got 2 stories. If I select, or if I didn't select these first and click this button, I would copy that data to all the nodes in the project. All right. I'm not confident of what it was set on the second floor or the first floor, but they're all set anyway. So what you would do is when you've used the filter, you can select all the nodes that you're seeing, then select that or copy that data for only those selected nodes. So theoretically now you'll see that the radar beam should be pointing in the right direction for all of these nodes. Yeah. So that's going up the building now. So that's going forward. So yeah, the radar beam is close. It's not perfect, but it's close. If you want to make it perfect, hold down the N key and just tidy each one up. There we go. So that's looking backwards. That could probably do the tweak. Yeah. So that's a little tip there. That's okay. Let's click on that. That's pointing the right way. Actually, that's should be just off really. It's about there, I think. Is it? Yeah. And then this one Where's that pointing? That's just offside the door, so that's probably about right. Okay, so that's my positioning right. So what I can do now is then do the auto linking. So I can just go the link, automatic linking, closest node. All right. Now, interestingly enough, it's actually linked something wrong. If you look, C is closer to E than B was, but I can't obviously walk through a wall. What you can do to change this, it's easy enough. If I select C, you'll see that we've got the link icon. If I click that, it's now turned red and active. What I need to do is hold down the Option key or the Alt key and click E, and it disappears. All right, I can deselect that, click B, click the link, click E, done. I've now corrected that. You can also select a line between the two, hit the delete key. You'd need to do that twice because we've actually linked both ways. So you'll be deleting the first one from B to C, and then the next one would be C back to B. All right, so that's correcting those. So everything's all linked up. Okay, so that's my floor plan. I'm going to just check the second floor. Okay, so I'm going to check the second floor. So this is the where are we doing? So that's first floor. Sorry, not first, second floor. It's the first floor plan. So what I'm going to do here is I can cancel that, go to first, and just quickly. Oh, actually, they're already done, so I don't have to. Right, so that's already in play. All right, so that's quite cool. I thought I did set those. So again, all I need to do is just automatic link in closest node, and that's basically done as well. So I've not actually set any hotspots. Okay, Thomas has just linked up. Not now. Apparently, if I select the link between, it used to delete one at a time. It now deletes both together. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Thanks for that. Otherwise, I'll be telling everybody wrong. Okay, so right, so we've now got our floor plans. As I say, because we've done all the automatic linking. Another thing is when you're shooting a building like this, is if you're using this particular method, you want to just make sure that everything is in line of sight. All right, that's also a good one if you're doing Google, obviously. So everything's in line of sight. But whilst we're in this particular mode, what we can do is if I hold down the Alt key stroke Option, we can test all the links as well to make sure that everything is working as should. Okay, which is a very good thing to do because you can test all of your hotspots. Okay, you're not getting the fancy transitions or anything like that, but you're just making sure that everything's pointing in the right direction. Okay, so that's now both my floor plans added to the tour map and the hotspots, or rather the pins added and the links done. So let's just reset the filter. And if I go to, so it's first floor. Okay, right, okay, so we got those. Right, okay, so let's, what I want to do here is go back to properties, he says. And so this one is the ground floor. I've already got one of those, so I'm going to delete that. Okay, so I've got first floor is, so that is now my ground floor. All right, so let's just do that. Okay, and then this one is now the first floor. So I want to get my naming conventions right. So first floor, because one, it looks neater in here, so I know what I'm selecting, and when I eventually finish up and go into the skin, I know which floor plan is going to be for what floor. Okay, so with that, I'm just going to break off for a second. I need to grab a drink. And are there any questions, Karen?
There seems to be a question. Jürgen is asking. Oh, he's not asking something. He says, I should have known that automatic tagging thing earlier. Yeah, you should have.
Don't. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the automatic, the tagging, using the tags and the filters is a huge time saver, especially if you prepare your panoramas before you bring them into Pano2VR. It can really save you a ton of time. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Right. The other thing is as well. Sorry, go on. I was just going to say, whilst I'm remembering it, and I did forget, is if you look, you've got A, B, C, D, and you've got them written here. If I change the floor plan, you've still got A, B, C, D written here, but it's only. This is only a visual reference between the two, so you can see on the first floor we've got A, B, C, D. So C would equal C there, and D would equal D here, etc. I did forget to mention that, and I really don't know how the connection made, but as you were talking, it was like you've just reminded me, so I thought I'd jump in and say that. But anyway, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, no, I think as we're watching you, I think it becomes obvious because you start seeing the letters in the Tor browser matching up. So like when you were changing the floor plans, it was easy to see this. Yeah.
Okay.
So Simon is asking, oh, no, we already answered Simon's question about the zoom wheel. Yeah. Fabian is asking, any advice to plan drawing a background one?
Sorry, I really don't understand that.
I think he's asking any advice on like how to build these the drawings. Is that right?
Well, these drawings look absolutely horrible on the understanding that I made these in Photoshop myself, because I didn't actually have any floor plans for this building. So I just sort of went by what the views were and drew them. Hence why they don't look particularly great. These are not professional floor plans by any stretch of the imagination, other than, as I say, what I've cobbled together myself just for this webinar.
Yeah, I think if you're working with any kind of builder or realtor, ask them for the plan and that you can bring in. You can, like Thomas is reminding us, there's AR apps for iOS if you're using them. But I think the easiest thing is to just ask whoever you're working with to give you these plans. They usually have them saved as an image, and if they're really terrible or really bad resolution, you can try and redraw them yourself, like in Photoshop or in whatever graphic app you want to use. So Simon is asking, is it possible to use SVG as a floor plan?
At the moment, it's JPEG or PNG. We don't have an SVG button.
Okay. So
I would say at the moment, no. but
yeah, right.
But perhaps later on.
Mm-hmm.
But but as I say, the formats provided at the moment, JPEG and PNG. So
cool. All right, and that's it from me.
From the floor. Okay, right. Let me carry on then. So I'm going to hide the tour map because we've done all the work that we need to do in the tour map. So basically, as a recap, added the floor plans, dropped the pins, corrected the heading, and done the auto linking. Done. Okay, so that's all you do really in the floor plan. I know we've drawn this out and we've taken a bit of time doing it, but yeah. Okay, so I'm going to hide this now, and we're going to go to the output, and I'm going to open up my new skin. And what I'm going to do is draw the floor plan. So again, I've got to draw the floor plan. I'm going to select the draw map. All right, and we're going to grab this. Now, I know for a fact that my map or floor plan images are 400 by 766. So I'm just going to type that in, 400 by 766. Now, you don't need to have the floor plan or the map element the size of your floor plan. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this little link icon and bring that size down to 200. All right, and just stick it in the corner. That'll do. All right, so that's but the only reason why I did that is I want to keep the same aspect ratio, hence why I clicked the link here. All right, so that's done that. Right, if I select the map element, you'll see that it's set for map and Google Maps. I'm now going to select it for floor plan. All right, and when I select floor plan, it comes up with floor plan first floor. Don't really want to start it on the first floor, so I'm going to select the ground floor. So that's my map starting point. Now, I like to keep things neat and tidy, so this is map 1. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select the draw container, and I'm going to draw a container around this, and I'm going to call the container map. Okay, and then what I can do with the container is anchor it top right, and that's going to be 10 pixels by 10 pixels. All right, so that's me tidying up things. Basically, as a bit of a tip, if you want to use like buttons or anything with the map element, if you make the buttons a child of the map element, because we're drawing in external content, you may or may not see your buttons. So if you've got the map element in a container and then draw your buttons, and then the buttons are a child of the container, then they will be all visible and everything will be great. So this is just again a good practice type thing. Okay, so I've added the floor plan. If I close this and let's save the skin and export what we got, we've now got straight away, there is our floor plan. There are the hotspots. I can click all these and we can move around. Cool. All right, again we've got our basic pins, and again I could go into the skin, double click, close. As we know, I can go into the map element, clone as marker, so as my map pin, the map pin element, and that will give me a better looking map pin with the name of the places as well. Right, okay, so that's basically adding that, but of course this is a 2-story building, so how do I change the map? Well, strangely enough, we can do that very easily. If I add a text box, I'm going to add, this is going to be my button, so I'm going to call this for first floor, and I'll just give it the label first floor. Now the actions, interestingly this, right, okay, so Pano2VR 101, actions, the actions should be self-explanatory. So I double click. What is the source going to be? It's going to be a click. What is the action going to be? Well, I'm going to do something with the maps. All right. Okay, so what do I want to do with the map? I want to change the map, and the first floor, I want to make sure that I'm selecting the first floor map, and the target is going to be map 1. Okay. Why is that important? Well, if I wanted to show the OpenStreetMap or a Google map and a floor plan, I would need to add 2 map elements, okay? Because if we select a map element, it can either be a map or display a map or display a floor plan, okay? I think they're the keywords, display. So it can't do both. So you would actually have one displaying a map, one displaying a floor plan. So you would have probably map 1 and map 2. So if I wanted a button to change the map, it's saying change it for, I don't know, open floor plan or OpenStreetMap to, I don't know, Google Map satellite view, and then I would target map 2. But because we're only dealing with floor plans and we've only got a single map, it is map 1. Okay, so let's add another button. And this is going to be my GF, ground floor, sorry, and we'll just do that. So ground floor. Okay, and as we did before, the actions, again, I am going to click a button, and I want to do something with the maps, and I want to change the map, and I want it to be the ground floor map and or floor plan, and I want to target map 1. Okay, so let's drag these into the container so that keeps everything together. And so let's close, save, and create the output. So now I can switch between first floor and ground floor. Cool. All right, so that's pretty good. Tidy that up a bit. I'm going to select both of these, and as a group thing, I'm going to change the color and change the alpha to 175, and I'm going to change the text to white, and as they are going to be buttons, I'm going to give it the hand cursor. So again, recap, if you're altering the attributes of more than one element, you can select both the elements together. You alter the attributes of one, it does both. So that's now a nice little thing. So both of those have now been changed. I'm going to add one more button to this. and I'm going to anchor this bottom right, and I'm just going to call this actually just call this B button map. All right, and this, strangely enough, I'm going to give it the action of a mouse click. I'm going to be changing the visibility. I'm going to toggle the visibility of map. All right, so this is the map, is the container. Now this container contains all the buttons and the map element itself. So basically, if I close save, I'm toggling everything. Okay, so in one hit, so everything in that single container gets changed, and I can go from floor to floor. Okay, cool. And just again to keep it tidy, I know this probably don't need to have to do this, but keep that black, keep that 175, and we'll keep the text white, so it's all matching. Here we go. Right, happy with that. Oh no, I'm not. Let's just say toggle maps. That's what the button's called. Right, okay, so that's where we are then. Right now we've got a project. We can toggle the map on and off, we can change the floors, and we can click the buttons, we can see the tooltips, and everything's cool. Right, so let's go back and explore this map element. Let's see what else we've got in here. I have got alignment of the map. Now the map itself, or the floor plan images themselves, because I knew the size of them and I've kept the map element the same aspect ratio, what I want to do is, if it was slightly smaller or slightly larger, you could actually align the map image to the center of this. All right, so let's just do that. The other thing here is unloading. Basically, when I close the map element, if you actually close the map element, it will unload that map, and when you open it up, it will then fetch the tiles and repopulate that. Now the thing is, I'm using what we call a simple floor plan. Okay, and what a simple floor plan does is it's actually displaying the local files. How to explain this a little bit better, really. Okay, if I have a look at the output, you'll see in my output I have images, I have my floor plan images. Okay, so if we go to maps, here they are. All right, so these are the floor plan images. Now there's a lot of rubbish in there. So what I'll do is I will bin that. So let's where is it? Move to bin. I will recreate the output so you can see exactly what is being generated by Pano2VR. So it says, and there we go. So these are the two map images that are local. So with using the simple floor plan, let's have a look at that. Simple, all right, this one, it will use the local images. This takes us back to that question, can you cache those images? If you use the simple floor plan and you did say a screen capture of an OpenStreetMap image, it's all local, it's all stored locally, therefore you don't need internet access. But if I deselect this, we are now going to tile this map, and for this to work we do need internet access. All right, and what this is going to do, if I close save, and we're going to create the output, we've now got a plus minus button. So here's our map, but now what we've got is we've got some zoom going on. All right, cool. Now if you've got a massive floor plan and a small hole, i.e. a small window, you can actually then start to zoom in and out and drag it around. So if I made it a little bit bigger, we can drag it around and do whatnot. Okay, now what we can also do here, which is most important, is center node on node change. All right, so that really works well when you've got a zoomed in map. All right, so if I now click hotspots, you can see that the node or the map is adapting and showing me the active pin. Okay, all right, so there you go. We've got a floor plan, we've got a simple floor plan which is just using local images. If we use the or if we deselect simple, we are using local images still, but they're tiled, and we do need the Leaflet API to arrange those images for us, so you will need internet access. Okay, so let's then have a look at the skin, go back into the skin. What else can we play with? So I've deselected simple. The zoom, we've got marker bound, so it's going to open up with the bounds selected. You can change the zoom level going in. We've got webinars that cover that. We've got UI map controls. Now, when we exported, you saw that we had a plus minus button. If I deselect that, save and export, we've now taken away the map controls. All right, so we can now use the mouse. However, if you want to, again, in the skin, we could add, I'm just going to just add a rectangle here just to show the actions. So we could have a mouse click, again, maps, and we can affect the zoom in, zoom out, or go. So we can have a button that zooms in, a button to zoom out, and one that actually zooms to marker bounds. And what marker bounds is a view where all of your maps, so it's the level where all of your maps or map pins are visible. All right. So that's what that is. So you have those options there. Okay, so let's just delete that. Don't want that. Okay, so where are we at the moment? We can select 2 levels. We can move around. What I want to show you is this auto switch. I can't remember if it comes default. I think it does, to auto switch floor plan. But basically what that does is if you've got hotspots that link between floors, the floor plan will switch to it automatically. So let's go back to the hall. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag a node to create a hotspot between the hall and the landing. I'm going to press the Alt key or the Option, follow that hotspot, and then create another hotspot between landing and back down to the hall, and follow that back down. I'm going to create the output. So when I move forward now, I've now got a hotspot on the landing. When I click that, boom, we've now got our floor plan changing automatically. Now you can deselect that or do as we've done, keep it selected. Other options in the floor, in the map element, we can change the color of the radar beam. We can even turn the radar beam on and off if you don't want it. We can change the size of it. So as an example, I'm going to change it to black, and I'm going to change its size to say 75. And let's see what that looks like. And here it is. So that's it now, a little bit smaller and a little bit more manageable, and we can move around. We can go to the first floor and do whatnot. Okay, so that's mainly most of the things done, but I'm going to add one more bit of polish to this, and that is a nice little compass. That's it, compass. That was the word I was looking for. So I'm going to go to our website, and I'm going to show you this. If we go to the forum and we go to Pano2VR Object2VR skins and go to the components, all right, here are a bunch of stuff that you can add functionality to Pano2VR. So if I go to the index, all right, you can see here lots of things. We've got 3D arrows, rollover, thumbnails, blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to go to compass, and I'm going to add a compass with rotating bezel. So it's going to be, where is it? Come on, this one. So with the rotating bezel, I kind of like that. So that's the one I'm going to do. So I'm going to click this, download that. All right. I don't actually have it in my Pano2VR build, so I'm going to go to my not applications, downloads. Here it is. Double click. It's going to ask me a category to put this new component in, so user defined, and it's been successfully added. What I can now do is go to my skin, open up the components toolbox, go to user defined, and here it is. Double click. It's now added to my skin. There it is. Thing of beauty. Right, so I'm going to stick that there. All right, I'm going to make this a child of the map container, because obviously I want to hide and show this with everything else to do with the map. And yeah, so that really will add a little bit more polish. There you go, look at that. And because I've got this, don't really need the beam, so this is why it's good to have that option. I can go down here and turn the beam off. Beam is now off. Okay. The other thing I want to add here, again, to add a little bit more polish, go to built-in. I'm going to add some 3D arrows, to the project, save that. I know it's going a bit quick, but you know, it's being recorded. Rewind, watch it slowly. And you've got these 3D arrows. The reason why I wanted the 3D arrows because they point towards hotspots. So if we go to the hall, you can see that the arrows are pointing up to landing 1. How cool is that? Yeah, and if we go back down, they're pointing down. Wow. All right, so that's quite cool. So we've now got this toggle the map on and off. Because it's a toggle, just one last thing, because it's a toggle, what I can do is set the map to be visible deselected at the very start. So when we create the output, open it up, there is our virtual tour of our house. We can wander around the house and we can open up the map, and the map is fully responsive with us. It follows us around and yeah, changes floors, you can do whatnot. And there you go. I think that just about sums up everything that you can do as a starting point. As I say, we've got other webinars that go deeper into floor plans, but you know, I know I've just thrown a lot at you. I know this was meant to be 101. I don't think I got into too much heavy stuff. There is lots more you can do with this. You can get, you know, the tooltips. Here when we hover over and we see a tooltip pop up with preview, you can get all of that with these maps as well, but that's covered in the more slightly advanced map webinars. But anyway, as I said, I think that's me for today. I'm going to open up over to Karen and see, do we have any more questions?
Hi. Yeah, I think that was easy enough to follow, the basics, right? There are a total of 3 webinars that we did a few months ago. If you go to the webinars page and if you want to dive deeper into this, there's a lot of information there. So, Simon, I'm sorry, I didn't realize your question was had to do with the floor plan. So let's try Simon's question again.
Right.
So he says, my question about zoom in out with the mouse wheel is for the floor plan. The zoom direction is not working in the same way. He says, sorry if I missed the info about that, but he still doesn't get it.
Right.
So,
okay. Just quickly then, we don't have any way of changing the zoom direction with the mouse. All right. The only thing is this is what I was saying. The only thing we can do is, you know, we can change the mouse direction of the panorama, but we can't do it with the floor plan. Okay, so what we can do is if you use the control tab and invert the mouse wheel, we can match the panorama to the floor plan. They may now be both zooming in and out the wrong way. Okay, right. So yeah, so let's do this. Let's do this. As Thomas was saying, show it. So yeah, good idea. So here is, I can zoom in. So if I push the mouse wheel forward, it's zooming out. If I push the mouse wheel forward, we're zooming in. All right. So whichever way you want to float your boat, you can do that. However, if I invert the mouse wheel and recreate and have a look, when I push forward, I zoom out, and when I push forward, I zoom out. So now that I've matched them, not necessarily the way that you want both to go, but at least they're both the same. All right. So, but as I say, there is a request for us to be able to change the mouse wheel direction in the map. But at the moment, because we can't, at least you can change the panorama to match what's happening with the floor plan. If that makes sense.
I hope that answers it. I hope it's clear. Yeah. So Tim is asking, what is the name of the copyright-free map that you mentioned? Is it good for anywhere? I think you're talking about the OpenStreetMaps. Yes.
Absolutely. If we go,
it's built in. So
it is. So if I just undock this, just to bring this out, make this a little bit bigger. Right. Okay. So if I was to add a floor plan. Okay. Oh no, tell a lie, not floor plan. If I was to add a map, you'll see that it automatically, the first map provider is OpenStreetMap. I didn't want to go into this too much because this is covered in those other map webinars, but we've got Mapbox, Google Custom Style, so you can actually start customizing the maps and have a custom map where you have some providers will provide you a link that ends with an image type, so in this case PNG, and we can draw those in, but again you need internet connection for those. So we actually work with Google OpenStreetMap, which is the free one. And having said that, what we're saying is chargeable and free is actually the API, because you can actually, as I said before, use an OpenStreetMap but use a Google API and still be charged. You must make sure, so let me show you this, you must make sure that let's go back to the skin, that you select, hang on, wrong project, do apologize, save that, come out, go to maps. This was the project with the maps. So if I go back to the skin, select that, you'll see with the map here we had Leaflet and Google. So I'm still using the OpenStreetMap, but with the Google API, if you get lots of people opening up your map on your panorama, you will start to get charged. If you select Leaflet, then it's free. All right, but you're only going to get Leaflet API if you're not using one of the Google Maps, because as soon as you do, you can't select it. So you can only select the free Leaflet API with a OpenStreetMap or one of the other maps that's not Google, should I say. Sorry, but as I say, that we do go into more detail with that in the other webinars.
You should check out the other ones. Some pretty cool tricks that Martin shows. So yeah, and these are all built in. You don't have to look for them or add them. They are already there. So
actually, if I remember rightly, what we also do, sorry Karen, button in,
no worries,
is if we go to let's say the custom, no, not custom, Google, we actually have got links to websites where you can start to go to and start creating your own custom Google Maps, and it creates a code and then you just copy and paste the code in here. In fact, we have a copy button that allows you to do that and paste it in. And so we've actually done quite a lot of legwork, and with obviously with the blue information icons, it actually does tell you. So paste in the JSON file in here, which is what you'll create. I know it sounds complex at the moment, but again, if you follow those webinars, all will become clear.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Nelson is asking. Right, good question, Nelson. Okay, so I do have a question about those buttons to switch from floor plans. Can we show the active one so the user knows where we are or where they are?
You can. Basically, what you can do is, if we have a look at, let's say, these two, right? So let's look at the ground floor. What I'm going to do is I have a border, a solid black border going around the button. And here is the border here. So what I'm going to do is add a logic block that says, if the tag equals, what's that, the ground floor, so ground, I'm going to change the color to a red. All right, I'm going to copy that, click OK. I'm going to go to the first floor one, select the logic block for that border, click paste, and I'm going to change this to first. All right, okay, so now what's going to happen is when I'm on a panorama with the tag either first or ground, it will be a red border. So there it is. So if I now switch floor plans, it's not switched the border because I'm still actively on the ground floor. All right, but if I switch to a first floor panorama, the tag will change in the project and the beam and the border will change. And again, if we've got the automatic switching going on as well, is when I click the hotspot, not only does the map change, but the border as well. So there you go.
Cool. Keeping with that theme, I have a question, my own question.
You can't have questions. You work with me. Go on.
inquiring minds want to know. But with auto switching, do you have to have a hotspot that connects the two floors? Will the map still switch if you move from one floor to the next without having a connector in between?
Yes, because it's working internally with the tags. So as an example, he says, right, okay, bear with me on this. Untested, so we're flying blind. Okay, what I'm going to do is just add a button. And I'm going to add this button, and it is going to say, on mouse click, I'm going to open next panorama. And I'm going to open the entrance. That's going to be the top one. All right. The next one is going to be mouse click, open next panorama, and we are going to open, say, the we're going to open landing one. So that's the one on the second floor. Okay. So that's what we've got set done. All right. So with nothing showing then. So if I open up the panorama on the first floor, it shows, and if I open up the panorama on the second, on the ground floor, it then reacts to it. So there you go. Now internally, the map is actually working with tags. The other thing is, if I hadn't tagged these panoramas, all right, what I could have done, and you probably saw it in the properties, if I opened this up, and let's just go to first floor, is I could have typed in a tag. So if I'd have added the floor plan first, so given it a name, I could have given it a tag. So as and when I dragged these nodes in, those nodes would have automatically picked up the tag. But because of the way that I prepared the project, the nodes have already got the tags to start with, so I didn't have to specify it in the floor plan. Okay, so that should do that. Okay, and as Thomas he's just said, or I could have added a thumbnail menu. I could have done. You could have quite right, but
and then I want to clarify that this is, you could add a thumbnail menu, but what if you don't want one, or what if your design doesn't necessarily call for one? Then that's another option. But there's also times where you don't want to use a thumbnail menu. So
no, I mean obviously. If you open up, so basically, if you're going to open up a node without using a hotspot, the options are a menu of some sort, all right, or direct node access. Aha! So with direct node access, if you opened up, say, a first floor panorama, it will automatically open showing the first floor, and with the first floor surround in red. So yeah, it's working like that.
Okay. So Nelson had come back and he said, like, oh, that's a cool solution for marking the borders, but it doesn't switch to the other floor. So he's asking, if it, if this would switch to the other floor. But I wonder, Nelson, does this solution that Martin just covered, does that help answer your question? Let's see if he'll answer back and give him a minute.
Okay.
Yeah. But
I've actually got the borders tracking the tag, so I'm not tracking the click. Mm-hmm. I'm tracking because basically what I'm doing is tracking the node that we're in. So we're saying that it's only red if I'm actually in a node on that particular floor.
Right.
Okay. So that's what I'm doing.
So yeah, he's saying it does, and he's going to make some tests and to make it work. Cool. Yeah. Play around. And Thomas is giving us another clue.
But dude, this is 101. Trust a programmer. He's like, but you could do a node change action and add node filters, and okay.
Yeah,
I could. You're quite right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's worth. It might be worth noting. It might be a little too much right now, but it's something that maybe you can research later, dealing with the change node action and then adding in the filter. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, Thomas. Yeah, I know it's 101, so it looks like I'm in for it when we finish it. But yeah, no, I mean, but Thomas is quite right. We actually do have I mean, I'm using tags here, but we could have a, let's have a look. So this is ground floor. We could add a, hang on, what are we doing? Actually, no, I would need to think about that, because obviously what I'm trying to do is change the colour of the border, and at the moment I'm doing that with buttons. Anyway, Thomas is typing loads of stuff at me. He's probably going to confuse everything for the minute, so I'm going to leave as is. I think we've covered enough. There is lots of actions that you can play with, but as I say, please look at the 101 for skin editor and things like that. We can change floor plans and do whatever, and we can react to those, so you can actually have a button that changes when you select the floor plan, or as I've done here, because I'm using the tags, we are reacting to what node that you are in. So that's that. All right. So
there's options. There's plenty of options. Yeah.
There's many options. Right. So with that all said, any more questions?
No, that's it. Simon says, thanks a lot, Garden Gnome team. Great webinar again. Thanks, Simon, for that.
Yeah,
the feedback's really important for us. We make these for you, and so we're happy if you're happy. And something else I forgot to mention is, if you're looking for how to do things, you definitely join the forum. And if you're on Facebook, the Pano2VR users group is like a wealth of information. And so if you're not already there, please join us. And oh, thanks, Angela. Thanks a lot. She says, I'm happy. Thank you. So thanks. That means a lot.
Absolutely. Right. Well, from me then, I think that's just about, if there's no more questions, Karen,
that's it. That's
right,
it.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to say thank you everybody for joining us today. As Karen's already mentioned, we do appreciate it, and it and it gives us a nice warm fuzzy feeling when people are happy. So and it's all good. So from me, thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next webinar. And I think the next webinar is going to be, I think we all agreed on this one, is going to be a 101 on preparing projects for Street View. The reason for this is that I've seen in the Facebook group and forums some basic errors that sort of leads us to think, right, okay, obviously the message on how to create Street View is not getting out there. So what we're going to do is a 101 on how to prep a project for Street View, and that's going to be same time, same place next week. So from me, thank you very much for joining us today, and I will see you next week.
Yep. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.